All right, Brianna, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me this morning. It's been a pleasure to connect with you again. We have spoken in the past about some opportunities, and you had accepted a temporary role that has now wrapped up. And so you, from what I understand, are seeking employment at this time. So why don't you tell me first about the job that you were doing, that temporal? Tell me a little bit about the job duties and what exactly you were doing.
Sure. So I worked as a legal analyst for the United States Department of Agriculture for a project that they had going on at the time. It was the Discrimination Financial Assistance Program, which was essentially a program where they intended to compensate farmers or people who wanted to be farmers who faced discrimination when trying to apply for a loan to either operate their farm or start a farm. So it was a lot of document review. They sent in the farmers or the people who wanted to be farmers sent in applications to the Discrimination Financial Assistance Program and had a lot of supporting documents, either showing their discrimination or the losses that they suffered as a result of the discrimination that they faced. And so we used a particular software that they had for the program. It was called ART, AART. I'm not sure what it stood for, but we used that to review their documents and score the applications based on the losses and the discrimination that they suffered. And that was the bulk of the work that we did. And we had weekly team meetings via Teams and communicated through Outlook and Teams and things like that. So that was the main part of that role and being on that project.
Okay, great. And then before that, is that when you were working with family law?
Yes,
Okay, tell me a little bit about that job.
sure. So I was a paralegal. There was one attorney in the office, and I worked as his paralegal. He covered a few different practice areas, but they hired me to cover mostly his family law work because that's the bulk of what he did. So it involved case management, being the point of contact between the clients or other attorneys and the attorney at that office. I was the only paralegal, so I was drafting, doing legal research, um, preparing legal documents, memos, motions, proposed orders, doing e-filing, and sometimes if the other legal assistant or the receptionist was out, then I would cover phones.
Mhm.
But it was typical paralegal work, I would say, with managing the family law cases that he had and carrying them through, staying on top of hearings, scheduling depositions, compiling and propounding discovery and discovery requests, organizing it, preparing pleading and trial binders for when he had trials or hearings.
Okay,
So,
great. And then before that, you're in a very large firm here in the or Daytona Beach area. As far as that position, you were doing similar work, or was that a little different?
it were the same kind of task, just in a different area of law, I would say. Just because it was probate and estate planning,
Yep.
um, there were less like scheduling matters in terms of hearings or discovery matters, but I was still drafting, case management, e-filing, calendaring, and I would say it was more drafting heavy as
A lot
opposed
of
to
drafting.
anything else. Hmm.
Oh, and what made you leave that position and go to the other location?
So my mom got sick
Mhm.
in October. I think I left that position in October 2022.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
so my mom got sick.
yeah, 22. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you needed a little time off. Um,
Yes.
okay, perfect. Thank you for explaining that. And then why don't you tell me a little bit about your education?
Sure. So I went to the University of South Florida. I majored in psychology, minored in English. I knew that I wanted to go to law school going into undergrad, so I chose a major that I would be good at, but I also enjoyed. It was a subject that I enjoyed in high school, so that's what I studied in undergrad. And then I went to law school right after undergrad, um, in Alabama. Um, but Yeah, it's pretty basic. I didn't focus on anything particular in um, law school, but in undergrad it was mostly psychology. I tried to do a little bit of like child or developmental psychology and childhood trauma and things like that. In undergrad, that's the coursework that I sought out. But in law school, I just did all the basic required classes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this portion of the interview, but don't go anywhere. We got a few more things to chat about. Thank you,
Okay.
Brianna.